I'm Kaylee, and today I'm telling you about my TBR and my recommendations for the 1900 to 1950 Readathon. The 1900 to 1950 Readathon is a readathon that is being hosted by Katie at Books and Things. This readathon is running for the whole month of May. I will leave links down in the description to the announcement video and to Katie's channel. Definitely go and subscribe to her if you haven't already. Please do subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up if you love classics between the years 1900 and 1950. So there are a whole bunch of challenges that go together with this readathon, and I don't really think I'm doing any of them. Challenge number 1 is to read a book published between 1900 and 1950 from the country that you're from. So, well, actually, I guess, okay, one of the books I have on my TBR does fit that. I'm going to be reading Aunt Jane's Nieces on Vacation, which is the 7th book in the Aunt Jane's Nieces series by Edith Van Dyne, which is actually a pseudonym for L. Frank Baum, who of course wrote the famous Wizard of Oz books. Aunt Jane's Nieces on Vacation was published in 1912. So that takes care of the challenge to read from the country that you're from, because L. Frank Baum was American. Okay, number 2 is to read a book published from a different country. I guess I actually have one for this too. I wasn't planning on really doing any of the challenges, but it kind of fits. So I'm going to be reading The Mystery of the Blue Train by Agatha Christie. This one was published in 1928. Number 3 is to read a genre classic crime, sci-fi, fantasy, historical fiction, etc. I guess I sort of have that too. How is this happening? I just picked books that I was not even looking at the challenges when I set my TBR, but it's like magically everything is coming together. So for this one, I'm going to be reading 1984 by George Orwell. This was published in 1949, so it barely makes that cutoff for the readathon. So I guess this could be called classic dystopian? I don't know, is that like a classic genre? The beginnings of the dystopian genre, George Orwell. Works for me. Challenge number 4 is to read something that isn't a novel, nonfiction, plays, poetry, short stories, etc. I'm not going to be doing that one, so finally we get to a challenge that I'm not actually doing. Challenge number 5 is to read a work of literature set during or exploring World War I or World War II. I'm pretty sure that the next one that I have on my TBR actually does fit that. Hang on, there's a little lizard crawling up the window. We're just gonna stop and follow his progress here. Well, he's just having a delightful time up there, just climbing up my window. What you doing, little lizard? What you doing up there, buddy? Please come down off my window. Oh boy. Oh man, what's he doing up there? Get away. All right, well, I'm just gonna like keep an eye on him from here and just be like, as long as he doesn't come in the house, I'm not so bothered. Like, you stay outside and you do you, little Mr. Lizard guy over there, but don't be coming in the house. Oh man, okay, well, I've completely lost my train of thought. I don't even know what I was talking about anymore. Literature that's set in World War I or World War II. I'm pretty sure that Hideous Strength by C.S. Lewis, which was published in 1945, I believe that is set in World War II, I want to say, or just after World War II, or something like that. The bonus challenge is to read a book from every decade of the period. So read a book from the 1900s, 1910s, 1920s, etc. I'm not doing that because Aunt Jane's Nieces is 1912, Mystery of the Blue Train is 1928, but then I don't have anything for the 1930s. I have 2 from the 1940s, because 1984 is published in 1949, and That Hideous Strength is 1945, so I'm just not doing that one. So I'm very happy with those 4 books on my TBR. I'm watching for him over there. I don't see him. I don't know where he went. I hope he went home because I don't see where he went over there, but okay. The reason I chose those 4 books to be for the TBR for this readathon is because they coincide with my other reading goals for this year. The Agatha Christie is, of course, part of my 2021 Agatha Christie Challenge, and I'll leave the link to that video down below and up above someplace. The Aunt Jane's Nieces book is part of my series goal for this year. I want to try to finish up some series, so Aunt Jane's Nieces is one of the series that I want to finish. That Hideous Strength I was already going to be reading in May as part of the Space Trilogy read-along together with a musical bookworm, so I will leave links to that readathon and those videos down below as well. And 1984 I have been meaning to read forever, just as part of my yearly classics goal. So this readathon really dovetails so perfectly with other reading goals that I was already doing. So I was like, well, why not? Let's kill like 5 birds with 1 stone. And now on to my recommendations for some of my very favorite books written between 1900 and 1950. So first we have some children's and middle grade. I have to, of course, talk about The Secret Garden. It is one of my very favorite books of all time. I have reread it and reread it and reread it over and over and over. The next one is The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. The Wind in the Willows is another huge favorite. I just could read it over and over and over and never get tired of it. It's such a beautiful, whimsical, delightful story. Then we have some YA, young adult before young adult was a thing. Johnny Tremaine by Esther Forbes. This became one of my favorite books when I was a kid and is full of adventure and of course the American Revolution. And another favorite is Freckles by Gene Stratton Porter. This is about a young man who takes on a job as like a guard over a portion of the Limberlost Forest. It's really beautiful and thoughtful and just, such a lovely story. Daddy Longlegs by Jean Webster. This is about a young girl who has a benefactor who pays for her schooling. She never gets to meet him, so she just calls him Daddy Longlegs. And of course, I've already talked about the Aunt Jane's Nieces series by L. Frank Baum. This is about several young women and their Aunt Jane is basically old and crotchety and rich. And so the whole question is, who is going to get Aunt Jane's money when she dies? It'll probably be one of the nieces. Then we get into what I'm going to sort of classify as YA romance. Because while there is a lot of other things going on in the plot, usually some sort of romance is usually central in these books. The first one is the Anne of Green Gables series by Ellen Montgomery. I don't think I need to say a lot about Anne of Green Gables. Like, everybody knows Anne of Green Gables, it's fantastic, it's wonderful. Enough said, everybody loves Anne. And of course, I just finished reading the Emily of New Moon trilogy. If you want to see my in-depth thoughts about Emily of New Moon trilogy, you can see my review video, which I will link up above and down below. So the next 2 are 2 of my very favorite standalones by Ellen Montgomery, Kilmeny of the Orchard and The Blue Castle. Both of these feature very lonely, very isolated young women who then, of course, meet a young man. Okay, then we get to the mystery genre. And obviously, you've got to have some Sherlock Holmes in there, right? I always think it's a good idea to start Sherlock Holmes with The Hound of the Baskervilles. And it really is the strongest story in the story structure of any of the Sherlock Holmes novels. So if you haven't read any Sherlock Holmes, that is a great place to start. The Oakdale Affair by Edgar Rice Burroughs. This is a good old-fashioned mystery with lots of twists and turns and different plot lines that are all coming together. It's just a rip-roaring good time. The next one, I'm not really sure if it's technically a mystery or if it's like a mystery romance or like paranormal, supernatural. I don't know what it is, but it's The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. It's about a woman who meets a ghost and they connect and they, get to talking. It's really interesting and beautifully written. And I have a million bazillion recommendations for the adventure genre. First of all, I have Kim by Rudyard Kipling. It's very colorful and beautiful and gives you this really just this beautiful snapshot of the culture in India at that time. And of course you have spies and intrigue and adventure thrown in as well. The Scarlet Pimpernel is one of my very favorite series. This is set in the French Revolution and follows the British spy, the Scarlet Pimpernel, as he is trying to save the aristocracy from the guillotine. If you like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes books, then you will definitely like E.W. Hornung, who was Arthur Conan Doyle's brother-in-law. So one of my favorite books by E.W. Hornung is Stingaree. Another favorite by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is The Lost World, which is the first book in the Professor Challenger series. And of course, this is the famous story where they go to this remote area in the jungle and they find dinosaurs that are still alive. It's so fascinating and interesting and just crazy adventure. I love it. Then I have a couple more from Edgar Rice Burroughs' Tarzan of the Apes, which is the first book in the lengthy Tarzan series, and A Princess of Mars, which is the first book in the lengthy Barsoom Chronicles. And they're both just fantastic, action-packed adventures. The first book in the Richard Hannay series by John Buchan is The 39 Steps. This one is a very short book, so if you're looking for something that's short and quick and exciting and fun with spies and intrigue and clever plot devices, then this is the one. It is fantastic. And the last one in our adventure category is The Black Stallion by Walter Farley. This is the story of a boy who is shipwrecked. He befriends a wild black stallion, and the two of them just form an incredibly close bond. In general fiction, I just have one book, Goodbye, Mr. Chips. This is the story of a teacher, and he kind of has trouble connecting with his students. He has trouble keeping control in the classroom, but eventually he kind of finds a way to connect with his students. And this book follows his entire teaching career. It's very touching and sweet. And of course, I'm a teacher, so it's just very meaningful for me. And then I have a play, just one play, Pygmalion, by George Bernard Shaw. The only reason I really love Pygmalion is because, you know, Audrey Hepburn and My Fair Lady. But it is delightful to read. There are so many fun one-liners in this play that will just have you chuckling because it's just like, oh, that was clever. And then I have one nonfiction, The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. I have only read this once and I got very depressed and cried for like 3 days. And yet, it's wonderful. It's beautiful and thoughtful, and it's amazing to me that such a young person had such deep and insightful thoughts. And of course, her whole story is very tragic. If you have not read The Diary of Anne Frank, you really should. It's just so lovely and beautiful. So those are my TBR books and my recommendations for the 1900 to 1950 readathon. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know, are you participating in this readathon and what books are you reading? I think that our little lizard friend has finally left. I have not seen him in a while, so I think he's gone. If I wake up in the middle of the night with a lizard on my face, then I will let you know. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.